Jessie Fleming, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, there's some big news floating around the sports world, of course. You're en route to the Portland Thorns. That's got to feel pretty fun.
Yeah, no, very, very exciting. It's definitely been a hectic last week or so, but no, on this, I'm definitely very excited to be heading to Portland.
What goes through your mind, like when you hear of, this transfer?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. I think, saying goodbye to Chelsea's was always going to be difficult. I was able to make some really good friendships there and had a really positive experience at the club. So I think it's a lot of mixed emotions, not wanting to leave one place, but also feeling really excited to start anew somewhere else. So yeah, I would say mixed emotions, but I think once I was able to get to Portland and get to walk around the city a bit and kind of get my bearings, definitely more excitement. But yeah, I'll always have a place in my heart for Chelsea, and hopefully we'll get to stay in close contact with some of my friends there.
Absolutely. And I mean, there was a Canadian contingency, of course, on Chelsea with Kadisha and Ashley. Now you are joining Sink and Janine. That's exciting. Like Canada strong.
Yeah, no, I mean it's always great seeing Canadians at these big clubs, and I think for me it's always nice being in a place where there's people that I know well and who have known me for a number of years. So I definitely think that also helped with my transition to Portland, just having a few familiar faces to say hi to.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a friendly city. Like great books, great coffee, great bike
Yeah.
riding, everything. Do you think though, like after all this, I'm still gonna be passing a sink?
Yeah, I mean I'm pretty excited. Definitely thought that Vancouver was going to be my last game with Sinky, and just feel very lucky to get the opportunity to have another year training and playing together. And yeah, I just think it's very lucky timing, and there's only so many Canadian players who've gotten to play with her, and yeah, I just feel very lucky, and I'm excited to get some more time with her.
I feel like people have been comparing you to her for like well over a decade, and you're only what, 25? So a very long time. Um, how did that like feel when you were younger, coming up, being consistently compared to the greatest of all time?
I think any comparison is a bit dangerous, but I mean, of course, it's like I think such an honor to for that to even be a conversation point. But yeah, I mean, Sinky is Sinky, and I'm me. And while there are some similarities between us, I think we're also distinct individuals, and we play different positions. And I think the both of us kind of just like to do our thing and get on with things. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's such an honor. But I think for me, I'm also trying to, figure out exactly who I am as an individual and my best way of, playing and helping lead the national team.
It's hard to figure out who you are as an individual, though. Like, are you doing the work?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely hard, and I think it's just how hard it is. I've gotten more of an appreciation for that as I've gotten a little bit older, but for sure, definitely trying to do the work. I mean, I'm really into reading and have read a lot of books about sports psychology, and really like to listen to a lot of podcasts, and definitely am always asking myself just questions about like what I'm doing here on this planet, and how I can be a better version of myself and a better sister, better kid to my parents. And yeah, I think I was lucky in that I had a few coaches early on in my career who talked a lot about just continuous self improvement and how there's kind of a larger person to the player. So I think just having exposure to that at a young age kind of got me curious. And ever since, I feel like I've just been encouraged to ask myself those questions. And um, yeah, I think just keep discovering myself. And I think every year you kind of think, oh, this year I'll get to this place that feels like an end point. But I think I'm starting to realize that there's never going to be an end point, and it's kind of just a continuous process. But um, yeah,
Honestly, so I'm 34 this year, and it wasn't until this year where I was like, I'm a grown up and I'm like really comfortable in my own skin. Like
Yeah.
it's inspiring, but also frustrating when you're like, really, like I'm still learning these lessons.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I feel like popular culture maybe makes you think that it's a lot easier than it is, but yeah, I'm trying to lean into that process and yeah, just enjoy it along the way.
So, and I've got a million questions to ask, but I am interested because you were super good at cross country running as well, which barf to me. Like literally every time I raced, I would throw up. But what helped you choose soccer over running? Because you could have had just a tremendous career there too. Like, do you ever think back and go, "Gosh, I wish I was an individual athlete," or, parts of your personality that you're figuring out now that you of course are a leader and you wear the armband.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had the thought, gosh, I wish I was an individual athlete. I think I feel really lucky to have my teammates, and I think being a part of a team is such a good source of motivation at times when maybe yeah you're low on motivation or questioning things. It's easy to look to your teammates and know that there's other people working hard for the same goal. So I don't think I've ever had that thought that I wish I was an individual sport athlete. But yeah, both my parents were long distance runners, and my brother and sister are as well. So it's kind of runs in the family. But I can't actually remember what made me make that decision. I think I had started playing for the youth teams when it was kind of getting difficult to do both running and soccer just because of the different like physical attributes that the two sports demanded, and just time commitment. I didn't have enough time to do both anymore. So yeah, I think there was a few kind of events that happened that kind of nudged me in the direction of soccer. And I mean, I've always really loved the sport and been really passionate about players in the sport and watching the sport. So I think it just felt kind of normal. I don't remember it being a big existential decision. I think it kind of just slid into place. Yeah.
Well, that's good because you were like 15, right? Like I would hate to hear that you were having an existential crisis about
Yeah. Yeah.
about the future of
Yeah.
your life. Um,
Yeah.
but you are so respected by your teammates, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but I am going to read this quote from Janine just so I don't misquote her. So Janine Becky on TSN, she said, "I know Jessie would absolutely hate me talking about this, but I'm really proud of the leader that she's grown into. Jessie's very humble to a fault. I think she doesn't give herself enough credit." Do you think there's truth to that? Do you not give yourself enough credit?
Yeah. I mean, I think like going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's something that I'm learning and still feel like I have a lot of growth to do as a leader and as a player. Um, so yeah, I think it's something that I'm trying to learn, but um, yeah, I definitely grew up in a household where I was taught to just work hard and kind of keep your head down, which I don't think is a bad thing, but yeah, I can see Janine's point.
You are cool as a cucumber when you take those PKs. Like really, in Tokyo, especially under that white hot spotlight, I like what was going through your brain? Like, you said your parents just told you to keep your head down and work hard. What was going through your brain when you were about to take those shots?
Yeah, I think we had practiced penalties a lot as a team, so I think we were all well prepared, and I would have backed anyone on our team to step up in that moment. But yeah, we had spoken about it as a group quite a bit, and also kind of the mental physiological side of those high pressure situations and just the benefit of taking a few deep breaths and how that is able to kind of ease your system. So it was something that we had kind of spoken about and practiced a lot as a group. And yeah, I think that helped us all. And yeah, we had so many different players step up in a very high pressure moment. So yeah, I think that kind of just speaks to our preparation more than anything, to be honest.
Did you know that those? Did you know the ball was going into the back of the net before you kicked?
Um, oh, before I kicked it,
Yeah.
no, I think I mean yeah, you can't know that. There is a certain degree of luck, and I think part of the mindset around penalties is that you have to accept the fact that the keeper could make a great save. My job is to put it on frame and make the keeper have to make a really difficult save. But yeah, at the end of the day, there was always a chance that the keepers were going to save it, and you have to accept that part of the game.
See, from my vantage point though, I was like, that's going in the back of the net. Like I just knew it. It felt like fate. I don't know. There was something in your walk or your face. Like I'm like, oh, she's gonna score.
Yeah, no, I definitely felt confident, but again, it doesn't matter how confident you are. There's always a chance that keeper's going to make a great save and guess the right way. So
Yeah.
I do think being able to accept that and knowing that your teammates have your back regardless of what happens is a big part of the reason why we were all able to step up and take those penalties with confidence and not feeling like if we missed the penalty that the whole team was going to be mad at us or that we'd let someone down. I think that's such a special part of our group is that we had each other's back, and regardless of if someone made a mistake, like we were always going to be there to pick that person up. So I think that was a massive part in the confidence in our group in those high pressure situations.
Yeah, just beautiful. I got to admit, I'm super jealous of you because I think you went to my dream school, UCLA. That was like my dream growing up. Why'd you choose UCLA, and how did that help shape you?
Um, yeah, I guess it was a bit of a weird process choosing UCLA. Originally, when I had kind of written out my list of like attributes of universities that I wanted to go to, I'd written out that I wanted to be I think less than 7 hour drive from home. So I was eyeing schools on the East Coast, and then they had sent a letter to my high school, and weird situation, but I actually had a friend who I grew up hanging out with in Canada who lived in California, and she was like, "You have to come out and check out California." And so my dad and I ended up going out and visiting UCLA. And yeah, as soon as I got on the campus and was able to speak to some players there, I think I was actually able to speak to Sam Mewis about her experience at UCLA. So it wasn't a tough sell once I was on the campus and I got to speak to a few people. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it was an incredible experience, and I feel really lucky to have gotten to live there and go to school there for a few years. And yeah, I still have a bunch of good friends from those days, and hopefully we'll get to return and say hi to the campus at some point.
Yeah, the campus is so gorgeous, and Los Angeles is just like a fun city. Like it's like it's La La Land. Like there really is a vibe there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have very good memories of going to watch sunsets at the beach
Oh,
with my friends. And we had this tradition that the last day of exam week, we would always get up and go do a hike to see the sunrise, and then we would go get coffee. So yeah, definitely have fond memories of that city. And yeah, it is a very cool city. But I also think that it's kind of easy to get stuck in like the UCLA Los Angeles bubble. It's not really the real world. So I think, yeah, I think it's yeah good to get out of there.
yeah. Well, you're going to Portland, buddy. You're you're not going to be in the UCLA
Yeah,
bubble. Um,
yeah,
no, and you're like a tremendous photographer too. Like, is that like a real? Oh, your face. Come on, no, you've really gotten high. Like, you're a good photographer. When did that passion start to rear its head?
yeah. I don't know about tremendous. I'm not exactly sure when it started. A couple of my friends and I in high school always had cameras and would go out and take pictures together. And then a few Christmases ago, my grandma gave me one of my grandpa's old film cameras. And so I've kind of gotten a little bit more into film in recent years. Yeah, I guess I honestly don't know why. I've always enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm not really sure why, but yeah, I've always been the photographer on our family vacations are always yeah, taken from my eye. So yeah, it's just always something I've enjoyed. I'm not honestly
Yeah,
can't tell you why.
no, but you are really good at it. Like, even my producer was like, "Wow, she's got a real eye." Um, is there like a real artistic side to you?
I'd say a little bit. My brother is quite artistic. My brother and my mom are both really artistic. So I definitely grew up following my brother around and wanting to do whatever he did. He was, yeah, just always very good at art. When he was little, he wanted to be an architect. And so was always drawing up plans. And we were always doing that stuff together. Yeah, we used to draw like chalk cities on the road in front of our house. And then we would ride around the Chalk City in our scooters and pretend that we were carpenters or different people in the city. So I think a lot of my influence for yeah my artsier side or why I picked materials engineering has to do with my brother and just growing up being the younger sister to an older brother. I think I yeah just followed him around a lot and wanted to be like him.
That's beautiful. Yeah, material engineering. Good for you. Is that what you want to do after soccer? I mean, you are so young. You don't need to know what you want to do with your life. But have you flirted with what's next?
Um, no, I think that's something I'm also trying to figure out. I actually also did a minor in environmental science,
Mm,
and so I think as my university years went on, that's something that I became more and more interested in. So nowadays I take the odd course on it's called like Coursera. They offer like one-off university courses, and so I'm definitely like, pretty interested in urban planning and I'd say like yeah, urban farming, food sustainability. So kind of trying to figure out exactly what I'm interested in, want to do. But yeah, something at the cross section of environmental science and materials engineering would be my dream. But I'm not really sure what that looks like.
oh, that's sweet. How much math did you have to do in Eng?
Too much math. Yeah,
Yeah, nightmare material, but
yeah. It was very very challenging. I don't want to do much more math in my life.
no, yeah. Like it's I don't know. I can do certain skills, but if you put me in front of a math equation, I will have a panic attack. It's bad. Um, so you do have time then on the side to take like an extra university course or whatnot. But what do you do like off the pitch? Like what really relaxes you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely still interested in trying to take those university courses. I'm also have definitely gotten to read more since graduating from university, just having more spare time. Um, yeah, I love exploring the cities that I'm in. Um, I've tried to get more into cooking and I've taken a bunch of cooking classes with my mom. She always did a lot of things homemade in our house when I was growing up, and so did my grandmother. And so I, been wanting to learn some of those skills. And then both my mom and grandmother were also pretty avid sewers and were always making things themselves. So I'm slowly working on my first like patchwork pillow. So yeah, I'd say trying to follow in the footsteps of my mom and grandma a bit. Yeah, I think when I was younger, I not that I thought they were weird, but maybe didn't appreciate how cool they were. And as I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten older, I feel like I've definitely gotten more of an appreciation for the music that my parents listened to and just some of the things that my mom made when I was younger.
Agreed. What's your favorite music that they've introduced you to?
Yeah, I mean they're massive Tragically Hip fans. So when I was younger, I thought it was yeah just weird and annoying. But now my brother, sister, and I love the Tragically Hip. So
I completely agree. Now that I'm getting older, I'm like my parents have always been the coolest people ever. Like they wouldn't like they
yeah,
didn't follow the fashions or the trends, so I always was like, "Oh my god, mom, dad." But now I'm like they're literally the coolest people that have ever walked the face of the earth.
yeah.
All right. Well, if you get bored, I wouldn't mind like some patchwork. I could use a doily of some kind. If you if you need another client, what are you most excited
Okay.
for to get down in Portland?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to be back on the West Coast.
Mm.
I've heard great things about the city. I've heard that they get a lot of good indie concerts. There's a really good bike culture, coffee culture in the city. Pretty good hiking, really close to the city. So yeah, I think I'm just kind of excited for the reputation that the city has, and I think with respect to the soccer, the club has such a close relationship with the community and with their fans, and that's something that I'm really excited to get to experience and be a part of. I think they had like an average attendance of 20,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Don't quote me, but they like they're the numbers that they get from week to week is incredible. So I mean I'm really excited to be a part of that community, and I feel like the people there are very passionate about their club, and I think part of it is just because they don't have those, you know, like NFL or
Yeah.
MLB teams in that city. I think it's just the um, NBA team and then the two soccer teams. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's pretty unique to Portland compared to other major cities in the U.S. And yeah, just really excited to be a part of that.
I got to go to a game last year, and the atmosphere was just so electric. And then I thought, like, wow, this day cannot get any better. And then I was sitting in a section where they just gave us free hot dogs. So it was like the best day of all time. No,
Yeah.
the atmosphere is next to none. Like, you're going to just love it. But when you are like prepping for a professional club, though, do you think, oh, how is this going to affect my international play? Or like, do you look at like synergies between professional teams and international play?
Definitely a little bit. I mean, I think a lot of my decision to move to Portland was to continue to grow as a player and be the best player I can be for the national team. You know, part of that means like playing a similar position that I play for the national team more
Mm-hmm.
consistently, which I think I'll be able to get to do with Portland. So yeah, you definitely look for a club that there's some crossover with the national team, and I think also a club, as far as that league goes, one of the teams that tries to play more in terms of possession, and that's something that is important to me, and that I'm excited to be a part of. So yeah, you definitely look for at least some crossover.
Yeah, and I mean, you and Sink and Janine are going to be a 1, 2, 3 punch. That's going to be pretty fun to watch, especially with KK as the president too. It's just like Canadians like infiltrating, infiltrating Portland.
Yeah, yeah. Don't tell the Americans that. I don't think they like
No,
that.
yeah, we want that. That
Keep
clip
that
will only
keep
play in
keep that
Canada.
north of the border. Yeah.
We won't. Yeah, we won't show that south of the border. Um, so you have been such a generational talent. You've gotten to be a star at the collegiate level. You've been a star over in Europe. You're a star in North America. It's a little bit of like an old question, but I genuinely would like to know, like, is Canada becoming a football nation?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I think it takes time. I think it takes more time than people appreciate. When you look at a lot of these European and South American countries, their football traditions date back a lot longer than Canada's. So I think we have a lot of work to do. But I do think you're seeing signs of the development, especially when you look at where players on both the women's and men's sides are playing, having more players at top clubs. I think that's a pretty good indication that we're taking the right steps. But yeah, I do still think there's a lot of work to do. I mean, when you look at the hockey culture in Canada, you hear about people playing pickup hockey on their local pond. So I don't know if we necessarily have an equivalent of that for soccer or football yet. So yeah, I do still think I don't know if it's totally permeated in Canadian culture, and I think that's the big difference between us and Europe. But yeah, I just think it takes more time than people appreciate, and you know think there's also very positive seeing like the development of Project Aid and how that will mean that you know we're getting women's soccer and just soccer in general in front of Canadians more frequently. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things to be excited about right now, but there's also a lot of work to do, and it'll take some time.
Well, and big thanks of that is to you though too. Thank you for inspiring everyone. Thank you for giving me some time. Gosh, it is always such a privilege to see your face. The last time I saw you, well, I saw you at Sink's last game, and then I saw you randomly on a flight from Budapest or Frankfurt. That was the
Yeah,
most random moment of my life. I'm like, hey, Jessie Fleming. And then we just chatted for whatever, half the.
yeah, no, it was a yeah very nice surprise.
I know, I know. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for being the podcast.
No, thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure, buddy. Peace.